Getting back with an avoidant, are you wasting your time? This is what we're gonna cover today in this video. My name is Alexis, I'm a relationship counselor and I am a former dismissive avoidant. I went through therapy and therefore learned how to be more secure, and then explain whether you should fight for this relationship if you broke up with a dismissive avoidant, if it's worth trying the effort, worth trying the investment, and if you can create something substantial, something meaningful with that person. I'll explain everything after the jingle.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
My first answer is yes, you are wasting your time. There will be a no, you're not wasting your time afterwards, don't worry. But the reason you might be wasting your time is like the definition of a dismissive avoidant is someone who has a deep fear of commitment. That's the definition if you open the dictionary or look at studies on attachment theory. So therefore it's completely contradicting the fact that how can I build something with that person who is actually scared of commitment? And it's probably the reason sometimes it happens, we trigger this avoidant part of our partner when we ask them to commit. So very often I have people calling me saying, we had an amazing relationship, and after a year and a half, after 2 years, I asked whether we should move in together. And here's where he's sort of my ex, or he or she became super distant, super cold, and freaked out. And a few weeks afterwards, we broke up. It's very frequent because they have this extremely deep fear of commitment. The other reason you're wasting your time is it's, again, because they fear intimacy as well. It's very hard to connect with them at a deeper level. I remember when I started therapy, it was very hard for me to address those points. I preferred, my comfort zone was to discuss shallow topic, be superficial in the interaction I had with people. I have a lot of friends, but it was very hard for me to get to a deeper level, right? And so when you want to construct something, when you want to build a relationship with someone, obviously, if you read books about relationship and the success of relationship, it's really about communication. It's really about discussing your fear, discussing your values and things like that, which are basically at a deeper level than just talking about the weather, talking about what you're up to and things like that. So these 2 points are complicated, right? If you want to build something sustainable, healthy, meaningful with someone, and you can't, be sure that that person would commit, you can't be sure that that person will have deep conversation, deep intimacy with you, it's going to be hard, right? There's something, before I move on to the next slide, I put together a quiz for you to know if you have any chance to get back with your ex, because perhaps you're reading the thing the wrong way. Perhaps actually whether he or she is avoidant is not really the point, and you have no chance of getting back with them because statistically you can't recover all relationships. So take the quiz, it takes 2 minutes, it's totally free. The link is in the description and you'll know in less than 2 minutes if you have a chance to get back with your ex or not. So no, you're not wasting your time. Of course you're not wasting your time. The simple thing is everyone wants to be happy. And a lot of people have insecurities, right? If you're watching this video, you know that you were happy in this relationship and you know that your ex was also happy in this relationship. The problem he or she has is he doesn't know or she doesn't know how to deal with that closeness, with this dependency, right? With those expectations that you have. There's always a disconnection. In a relationship, there's always we're different, so it's actually a miracle that we can end up in couples because we are so different. We have different backgrounds, we have different view, we have different insecurities, and it's very hard to match those things. And there's a lot of friction in a relationship. And when it's about dealing with an avoidant, the friction comes usually from this attachment style. So what do you do about it? So here are some signs that this can work. You need to assess whether Again, the purpose of this video is to know whether you're wasting your time or not. They told you it's different. They told you, this relationship was different. I was happy in my previous marriage. I was happy in previous relationships. I've been dating a lot of people, but this is like life-changing experience for me. And you know that this relationship, the relationship you had, will create the desire for them to know what was wrong and to work on themselves. Your ex, and therefore your ex realizes that his or her fears prevent them from a meaningful relationship. As we discussed before, everybody wants to be happy. A lot of people want to have family, children, have someone to share their day with or their life with. Some of them are avoidant, but a lot of people share this deep need to have someone in their life. It's just a question of how to do it, right? And the structure of how to do it. But whenever they feel that because of their fear, they can't have this dream, this vision, they will want to work on themselves. And the thing that will open their eyes to what they want, and that was the case for me, is when you realize that there's something wrong. I can't communicate with my spouse. I feel overwhelmed when I'm, too often with my spouse, or when I have to compromise or deal with stuff, right? But when you experience a different relationship, when you experience true love is a big word, something changes within yourself and you realize, I need to do something about that. This is the beginning of something. This is the beginning of a growth journey for me. Another sign is that you've been together for more than 6 months, or that they have had long relationship. The reason I'm saying this is because you have people, it's not a big proportion, but you have people, you look at their dating history and they've never dated someone more than 3 to 6 months. These ones, honestly, it's going to be very hard for you to get back with them because there's a deep fear within themselves, or perhaps their desire. They don't want to grow old. They don't want to build something with someone. They just want to have superficial relationships and they're happy with that. And you have to understand that these people can't make you happy because that's not exactly what you want. But be aware of people who've been serial daters, who've struggled to commit. If your ex is avoidant and you know they've been married, it's a safe thing. It's just a question of you not triggering him or her. And I'll explain my method in the next slide. First is to really assess. So my method is basically what I do first consultations with my client. I'm basically giving you my secret. The first one is assessing whether you're a good fit. So I always check whether, were you happy in the relationship? Was there investment on both sides? All these kind of things. And answering the question whether you can build something together. Because if you can't, you're wasting your time, and my job would be to help you move on, help you be more secure, but not to help you get back with your ex. The second thing, very important, and where most people get wrong when they don't get coaching, is to learn a new language. Okay, some people think, I'm very empathetic because I can put myself in their shoes. It's actually really hard to put yourself in his or her shoes because they see the life in a different way. So when you put yourself in your partner's shoes, using your own operating system, of course you'll be receiving the fight or the argument or anything that you hear or that you tell them from your point of view. It's really hard to understand their point of view. And once you have someone who can help you find the right words, find the right approach, not to trigger things. It's very easy to be judgmental. It's very easy to be emotional. Okay, and when you have those things, when you display those things, your avoidant ex will freak out and he or she will run away. So it's really about how you can change the language. It's not about being complacent and accepting everything and not having any boundaries or limits. It's really about how can you speak another language. Learn how to be more secure. Obviously, that's the basic. As a counselor, that's probably the most interesting thing for me to do with my clients is helping them be more secure. And it has nothing to do with your ex. is how you understand your emotional response to, for example, your ex ghosting you. What's going on in your head? The thought process. How can we deconstruct those things? Where is it coming from? Those fear, those insecurities, okay, this anxiety. It is 75% of my job is to really help you understand those things. Most people, they don't know that. I didn't know those things before I went through therapy. It is very important because once you unpack those things, once you understand those things, you come into the relationship with more equipped, more confident, more secure. And if things don't work out, it's not about you, it's about the relationship. And usually things work out because as you're more secure, you also influence your ex to be more secure. As you're more secure, you can take some distance and understand that, there's something that bothers me, there's something that makes me upset. And rather than reacting in an emotional way, in a judgmental way, you find the right tools, the right resources to use this new language. So the new language is essential, but the way to apply it, you need to really work on your emotion. You need to really learn at being more secure. Second part is to avoid the triggers. And it's part of the language. Don't get me wrong. Whatever the way you communicate with an avoidant, a lot of people, when they send me text about their interaction, because I do coaching on WhatsApp as well, sometimes what they say is not wrong in the context of you dating a secure person. And it's very hard to know whether it's wrong or not because you don't necessarily understand how your ex thinks or how your ex perceives things. Something about I need you. When are we seeing each other? I want to chat. We need to chat. On its own, it has nothing wrong saying these kind of things. However, when you communicate with an avoidant, saying those things will freak him out, freak her out. So it's really being mindful of not triggering him or her, especially when it comes to recovering a relationship. This is where it's very sensitive. Because the problem with insecure people, whether they're anxious or avoidant, they are scanning the world for threats. And the threats in the mind of an avoidant is commitment, is closeness, is intimacy, is dependency. So the I need you, whoa, no, it's too much for me. It's too much for me. They will say usually the typical phrase or sentence of someone, an avoidant breaking up is like, it's too much for me. This relationship, it's too much investment. I feel like I'm not doing enough. Because they have this feeling of dependency and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for them. Another thing is very important is to be self-sufficient. Perhaps very frequently dating an avoidant triggers our anxious side. Okay, so one way to do it, to explain or show to your ex that you're self-sufficient is, for example, you do your own life. I'm doing this with whoever. Do you want to join? It has a total different impact than when are we seeing each other? I want to see you. Next week, when are you free so we can meet? That's overwhelming. But if you say I'm doing my own thing, and if you want to join, you can join. It's totally different. It's less overwhelming. I don't depend on you. I'm doing my life. And if you want to come, you come. When you say that, you multiply your chance of them saying yes by honestly 10. Another example that I've done with a client. Let's say you're long distance. You want to be with them, but the long distance, it's overwhelming for them knowing that you're going to come to the city. For them, living together, it's too big of a step. I advise my client to moving in the same city and not tell her ex. And obviously I checked that she wanted to go live in this city. And what happened is because she didn't have to showcase anything, but as soon as her ex realized that she moved in the city, found an apartment, made new friends, learned the local language, he thought like, fuck, this could work. I thought the relationship would be like an all or nothing, right? If we are together, we're gonna be 24/7. She won't, she will depend on me because it's not her country, it's not her culture, it's not, and she would have to rely on me, and I want my space, I want my freedom. So I'd rather break up. But now actually, I still have the same person that I love, that I have a great time with. Every time I'm with her, I feel amazing. But she has a life, she's independent, she's self-sufficient, she doesn't need me. And I feel way more secure this way. This sends a super strong message. So these are the kind of tools that I use with my clients. Obviously, it's an ongoing thing, it's an ongoing process. If you need my help to navigate this process, get in touch with me. I'll be more than happy to help you, whether you just broke up with your ex and you want to know whether you're wasting time. Maybe you're not a good fit and you're struggling. Maybe you took the quiz and your score is not really high and you want to know more. Maybe you're communicating with your ex, but you feel like he or she's giving you mixed signals and it's hot and cold, and one day it's great, one day it's very distant. And you want to know what to do, how to reverse this, how to change the dynamic. Get in touch. There's a link in the description to book a free call, and we'll discuss what sort of coaching can help you in your situation. If you like this video, don't forget to click on the like button. It does help me a lot for the referencing, obviously, but also to know whether this topic is something that you want to see more. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.